Rolling.
Rolling. G'day, Ben.
Hey, mate. It's good to see you. I was thinking today that we should talk a little bit about compositions and maybe even play some stuff. Just have a listening session because you constantly send me scores and I love it. And I think we should just have a listen to some stuff that we love, maybe talk some stories and just share with each other. What do you reckon about that?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
So as a composer, though, let's have a chat about scores. Like, what makes a good score, particularly in this day and age? What do you think is the thing that makes a score great?
It's a good question because you'd think fantastic music could be the answer. And while fantastic music is great, and if you can write music that's wonderful in a movie, fantastic. But I think music in a movie or a film or a TV show has a primary purpose of telling the story and setting up what I like to call as a sound world. So what is the sound of this movie or the sound of the story as well? So it's got to paint a backdrop to the film that sounds right, but also play the right notes at the right times with the right rhythms to propel the story forward, whether it's character-driven or theme-driven or scene-driven. And then if you can wrap into that beautiful music or not beautiful music specifically for the right film, sometimes it's ugly music or ugly sounds that are required for the film.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of the challenge.
Yeah.
And I've heard different composers like John Powell and Ben McCreary talk about the balancing act of writing music that satisfies their music cup but also satisfies serving the film.
Yeah. So another follow-up question to that then, should a score be memorable?
Ooh. For some movies, yeah. For some things, I think it should be. Like think of Star Wars as an obvious example. A very memorable score. The first few notes of Star Wars starts and everybody knows exactly what you're watching.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really helps the movie or the franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas there might be another show, another movie like Ice Age, for example, where it's a great film and a great animation, but could you hum the theme to me?
Yeah.
I bet you can't remember it because it's there's other things that are more memorable in the story than the theme, and the music is serving the story more than trying to be a character in its own. And even though Star Wars, it is serving a story and there are different characters' themes, the music was really taking the spotlight.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that because, like, is it the movie that made the music or the music that made the movie? Or obviously in something like Star Wars, it's definitely both, right? Like Star Wars was ahead of its time when it comes to, the story and how it was produced, the quality of, people were blown away just by the visuals and how they made something in space like that. But obviously when you pair it with one of the most iconic theme songs, that isn't probably...
And John Williams, one of the most iconic film composers.
Exactly. So, that's an example of just like both make the package as it is. It's interesting because I would say like back in the day, I felt like themes to films and even some TV shows were probably a bit more iconic than these days. It's interesting, even someone like a Hans Zimmer, right? Like I've had arguments with people. They're like, Hans isn't a great composer. All he knows is bah. And I'm like, yeah, but first of all, he invented it, right? Like as in he was the first to really give us that sound. And I thought it was amazing. And, when we go through our tracks together, like people are going to get a theme where I'm like, I like the big ones and you like the beautiful ones, which I also love. But I mean, I just love a score that's big and takes you places, although yours take you places, but a different place, you know what I mean? But someone like Hans, people don't realize that he's been writing forever. Like he wrote the score to A League of Their Own. So I took my wife back in the day. I was like, I'm going to show you all the iconic films of my life, Mighty Ducks. And she probably saw Mighty Ducks, but I'm pretty sure she hadn't seen Indiana Jones or...
oh, wow.
Or even
Hey, there's a new Indiana Jones coming out, actually.
Here we go.
Very soon. Very soon.
But, so I went back and showed her A League of Their Own, which is a baseball movie about women. They started a league for women because all the men went to war. And I showed her, and I didn't realize, but Hans Zimmer, composed by Hans Zimmer pops up. And I'm like, he wrote this one? Like his composing chops are just way more than but obviously he's
written a lot of music in a lot of different styles.
Yeah, there's a lot of great themes that he's written in recent days, which we can talk about some of that stuff, but he still writes a memorable moment. But, at the end of the day, I would say a lot of scores these days kind of go under the radar. They service the film and they, as you say, they tell the story and take you to a place, but you're not walking out of there going, da, 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 singing John Williams.
Not all the time. Sometimes you are.
Yeah.
And
well, you listen to some music. Not everyone else.
I
you
am.
are.
Yeah. That's true. Sometimes you ask your friends like, oh, what did you think of the music? And they're like, I didn't think of the music.
Yeah, they're like, there was music in that film?
There was music. I was like, there was so much great music.
Yeah.
But we're going to listen to some music today. Yeah. So we're going to trial a new thing.
Change it up. How good's this?
Yeah. So we've made a little playlist together of some of our favorite tunes and favorite composers, and just to take you on a bit of a sound journey. While we're on the topic of Hans Zimmer is not only a master of writing beautiful music, but he is a master of sounds and finding the right sound for what I called before the sound world.
Yeah.
So he's all very textural as well as very musical. And the first track that you picked out today is very much showcasing his sound design, almost sound design chops.
Yeah. So the reason why I picked this track, it's Why So Serious. First of all, like The Dark Knight for me is just a killer film, and you've got this is the introduction of Joker, and I just think it was one of the better Batmans, although, all of this series was so good. But I just loved the sound of this track and the tension that it builds, and it is a very sound designy vibe. And, it just showcases not something that you're going to go and sing, but it really brings the energy and the tension that you need from, when Joker's face appears on the screen. The other thing to note, and as the track progresses a bit, is we saw this live, didn't we? So me and you went and saw Hans Zimmer live, and I loved it so much to see Hans Zimmer,
amazing.
The nerdy composer. Well, he's not that nerdy, but he's pretty actually cool. But he gets up there with the guitar, and
you can be cool and nerdy.
He can be, yeah, it's true. Oh, well, Hans can be cool and nerdy because he's Hans, but he got up there and just rocked this song with the band, and it just was glorious. So give us a play.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to play it. We're going to jump around the tracks too, or we'll be here all night. So we're going to start from 40 seconds in. All right, here we go.
Build that tension, baby. The hairs on the back of your neck just,
It's beautifully not beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it? The use of, obviously there's actual guitar and then there's, your strings and things. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Great use of panning. Dancing between the left and right ears, just...
Got to get to the big bit. Here we go. Come on. You remember Tina Guo was up there with her cello, probably had distortion on it, and she's just like, oh, we're a big fan of
Electric
Tina.
Cello.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
Anyway.
So this is a tension scene, obviously. So this is a good example of how Hans uses sound design with music, but it's not like a song. It's not a tune.
No. Although that's
so this is a great example of,
but no one's going out of there and singing it, right? You're not going out there going, like no one does that. Well,
you could.
I just did, so
you just did, yeah. But this is a great example of where sometimes there's great music for music's sake, and then there's storytelling. And obviously this is a piece of a cue from a moment of storytelling.
Yeah. So next I just want to show, so it's A Dark Knight, which is also from that film. I thought while we're playing that, this to me is just like kind of the bar I'm talking about of Hans Zimmer, and it's just fat and low and deep. Just give this one a little play for a little bit. We'll see. You can skip through. We'll see how we go. But I just wanted to play some of this one because this is my jam, this kind of stuff. I'm all about those big bass drops, you know. Just picturing the big cityscape and stuff as well. Like, oh. Especially because this film is real dark, you know, visually it's so dark, and I'm all about his arpeggiated lines, which is the motifs. Yeah, he does those so well, and the chord progression in this, the way it builds, beautiful. See, we're going to talk all through this because the whole point is a conversation, not just listening as well. I'll try and not talk through some of the better stuff, but this to me is a beautiful melody, but maybe not one you'll sing on the way out of the door, you know?
It's moving though. And the Hans Zimmer is a master of big, long cues that just feel like they're always growing and lifting and lifting.
Great use of synth as well to follow that sort of what the strings were doing before. Pretty.
I forgot how nice this score is, so thank you for dropping this in. I'm going to be up all night listening to stuff after this.
Got a bit of glitch there. That's all right. Even just skip through a little bit. Like I think.
Yeah, we'll jump in a couple.
Oh, it gets dark. We lose good climaxes. Oh yeah. And even like hits like that, right? So, obviously he's hitting a moment in the visuals and stuff. Like, yeah, it's so good.
I'll jump around halfway and see where we're at.
This makes me want to go fight. That's the thing. I want to go out and save the world right now.
Put on your Batman costume and hit the town.
Yeah, fly through the sky. The thing with that vibe as well is it's so low, right? It's still melodic and beautiful, but it's low. So, you know, dialogue can really like pop over that. Other stuff, you know, can action-wise can be over the top of that. And you just got this big, beefy, low vibes there, you know.
Now, we should mention that this score was not only composed by Hans Zimmer.
Correct.
This score was co-composed by James Newton Howard, and a lot of scores have many writers, music writers involved, but James Newton Howard was very involved with this one. And Hans Zimmer had already done a few Batmans, and he just didn't know if he had much more to do with, like, to say when it comes to music and Batman. He was feeling quite fatigued after coming off those other films, and so he was talking to James and said he would do it if James was to join him, so that he could have someone fresh on the journey and someone that could push him into different places. So that's how the collaboration of Hans and James on The Dark Knight became, which is awesome because James Newton Howard is a wonderful composer. You know him from many, many films. And I picked the next track. Next track's called Market Chase from the movie Jungle Cruise, which is it was a great movie, but it wasn't a huge movie in terms of the people I've spoken to don't know about it.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest. I'm laughing because I'm seeing the picture of The Rock on there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But what I like about this piece of music is the forward momentum it has. It has a lot of like, we're moving quickly, we're in an action sequence.
Yeah.
And in fantastic James Newton Howard fashion, beautiful orchestral arrangement. So not as big and sound designy, but a lot more classical in the orchestra. So I'll show you a bit of that.
It's almost got a bit early Star Wars vibes, like.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the orchestration with the woodwinds and strings.
Yeah.
It's got this great forward momentum.
Yeah.
It's like always pushing.
Yeah, and you can tell in this it's like, oh, now we're like jumping over the trees or swinging from, you can see him swinging from a tree. But it's like, oh, now we're ducking under this, like all the,
Absolutely.
they're cut into moments in the picture.
And this is a great example of where a Dark Knight score wouldn't work for a movie like this, and this score would not work for The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's great.
So really I'll stop it here because it's just 3 minutes of wall-to-wall adrenaline.
And imagine having
in a very classic way.
Yeah, imagine having to write that though, like to keep that energy.
A lot of notes.
Lots of flavors in there. Yeah, that'd be pretty full on to write. Definitely not.
But it's quite fun, like playing these melodies quickly in the strings, and all of a sudden the brass just take a moment, and then we're over in the woodwinds, and then we're changing over here, and then it's involved.
Yeah,
and,
cool.
and James Newton Howard is a master of it. So is John Williams. So I picked out the next track as well, or next couple of tracks, which is actually one of my favorite composers, Bear McCreary, and I thought, what better to show Bear's stuff than the film that I actually discovered him on. Also another movie that maybe not everyone has seen, called Europa Report, but fantastic film. I love space and sci-fi, as I've mentioned in the past. And Bear McCreary in this particular score, really, I don't know, there's something about the way he moves chords, the way he uses sounds that instantly when I watched this movie, I went, I need to find out who wrote the music. And I went on a big Bear McCreary discovery phase and have been a big fanboy ever since. So I'll show you a bit of this piece of music and the next one from this movie.
Beautiful.
So this piece of music's called The View. It's near the start of the film. It's when they're coming up to a planet called Europa. So they're traveling out looking for a planet that has water to see if there's life on the planet. And this is the view. So this is as they're approaching the planet and they're seeing it for the first time and they're seeing how beautiful it is.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Love the harmonics on the strings. It's the breathy sound of a violin.
So this is the feeling of excitement, the beginning of a journey.
You should narrate over the top. I like that. The beginning of a journey. Love the pulsating vibe of the strings underneath with those long notes at the top. So good.
Yeah, big bass synths. I love this like pulsating motif of that string. He uses that technique a lot in a lot of his scores. Very Bear McCreary identifying trait.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It kind of swells up. It doesn't do too much from here.
Oh, just the lifting chords though, like it's great. Beautiful. What else you
And
got
I'll
for
jump
us?
into the next track too. So this one's as they're landing on Europa. So this is similar to the Hans Zimmer track of The Dark Knight, a tension building track, but also using the same motifs and the same musical language that we just had set up. And I think this is the track I remember watching it when they're landing. I thought to myself, who is this composer? This was the moment that I thought that I really like it.
I'm into that.
So in the film, there's a few complications happening in the ship at this point in time as they're approaching their landing.
Ooh, yeah. Anything that pulses, I love the pulsing. And, it's so good.
So it's just tension building.
Yeah.
You know, it's 3 minutes of them landing and it just grows and grows. And
But I love like that pulsing kind of gives that energy of moving on, a bit of tension, but even some of the note choices is almost like a bit hopeful, but not really. Oh, is it hopeful? Or, it's it's going
it's pivoting
tension.
between we're going to land or we're going to crash.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to land, we're
Yeah.
going to crash.
Such good storytelling in the music, yeah.
I'll just let it play just for a few moments longer because it's good.
Oh, mate, let's get book. So they're all safe, right? It's all good. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
It's not obvious.
And
is
then
it?
this is the moment they've landed.
You're giving away the movie now. Like, I guess spoiler alert. Should we have said that at the start? But
Probably. So once we get that hopeful or
Yeah.
that story, the story's beginning theme comes into play again, which we heard earlier.
yeah, it's great.
So I won't play the full track, even though I'm going to be very tempted to play the full tracks of everything.
Yeah. We've got a
I'm
bit
going
to
to
get
force
to.
myself not to.
Well, I haven't heard all these, so I'm loving this.
Yeah,
It's great.
I'm going to move a bit quicker through these next few, but I just wanted to stick on those because that was my discovery of Bear. And as you heard, that kind of stuff really appeals to me. Beautiful melodies, beautiful sounding things, but storytelling mixed in. I
Yeah.
really am connected with that. So this is actually a video game, but once again, Bear. Just wanting to show the big side of Bear.
Well, this is the thing
so
with
it's
like
good.
gaming, like music has been for a long time now has been so good. Like even they've been putting up the albums on things like iTunes for years and years now. But like it's so good that there's this other medium where they can write for it as well. So give us a listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, here we go.
I'm going to assume this has got some great taiko drums or some tribal vibes.
These kind of like distuned chords too. Just
Yeah. sound you can make with an orchestra and different vibes. So good. I'm all about fat tubas and bass trombones as well.
Yeah. And Bear loves to use the voice as well.
Sick.
I'm going to move on.
Yeah, we got to keep cracking
So
through these.
Davinci's Demons, some may have heard this TV show. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the score as well. Lots of percussion, and Bear works with I forget the percussionist's name. I should have researched this prior, but a great percussionist who he works with all the time. And this is a track that I think, really shows that.
I don't think I've watched this show.
You should. We love these string lines, these really fast little runs. They play these string lines for about 6 minutes straight, so I can't imagine the burning of the fingers of the players. But listen for the layers of percussion. There's so many little small drums played lightly. Cool. I'm going to keep moving because I love listening to tracks all the way through, and this podcast will be about 4 hours long if we do. So,
true. Well, it's probably not a bad thing, but I feel bad sharing the whole song. Everyone, go and listen to these tracks and make them money by streaming them. That's good.
That's true. Yeah. So 2 more tracks from Bear, another movie I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the whole series of movies. The Cloverfield Paradox is this particular movie. There was I think it was called Cloverfield, which is the first one, the Cloverfield Paradox, which was the second one, and 12 Cloverfield Lane, which was the third part of 3 movies. But this one's the second one, and just some really great music writing once again. I'm going to jump into the middle of this track because it's a long one, but I want to show you from the middle also. A bit earlier than that. Once again, you'll hear a Bear motif.
That reminds
There's just
me
some really
of
wonderful chords.
Matrix. It's a very similar vibe to, can't remember which one, but that's got Matrix vibe in it.
But the chords that Bear uses under this are just fantastic.
Nice tempo change. Oh. It's very Matrix.
I'm going to play a little bit longer of this one because it's worth it.
Love the time-kicking clacks.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling you've shown me this one before. I love it.
I think I've showed everyone I know this track.
Yeah, through your speakers. Like, here's how good my speakers are. Listen to this.
Yeah. I'm going to jump forward a little bit because I want you to hear these amazing chords near the end.
To watch these films. I don't know that I've even seen these, but I'm going to have to watch them now just to hear the score.
trust me, these chords that are coming are going to be so worth me hogging all the airtime.
It's very Batman, that. It's in the Dark Knight, one of those.
Here it comes.
It's pretty and kind of dark at the same time. Worth it. So
Worth
good.
it. And then in the same movie, this is just Bear's chaos. Bear is a master of chaos, and this is a track that I love. There's nothing really that pretty about this one, but yeah, check this out.
I don't know how you'd write this stuff without really like knowing how an orchestra works. Like, oh, I know they can do this sound and that sound. Like, there's so many weird sounds in there.
There's tension and
Yeah.
a few more seconds.
Who wrote The Matrix? Because this reminds me of Matrix. There's so many vibes in there. There's like a thing called that.
That's a perfect
Yeah,
time to
so
stop. But yeah, Bear McCreary, check him out.
Awesome
Great composer,
stuff.
worked on a bunch of really cool stuff, and he's a chordsmith. He's a wizard,
He is.
as they all are.
That's
all right,
true.
next one's up. Next one's yours.
All right, so we're going to do a bit of Hans Zimmer dipping in and out. There's just no doubt because he's iconic. One thing I want to talk about with Hans, though, is his, particularly, I want to mention a story. So when Christopher Nolan came to him with Interstellar, he didn't say, we're doing this grandiose, one of the biggest grandiose space stories that's ever been told. He came up to Hans, and there's a video on YouTube or something where Hans is talking about how Christopher Nolan came up to him and just said, look, I want you to write a piece of music. And he gave him a letter or a little just sort of story that was basically something about a father leaving their child, or it was something really basic. It may have, I'm in my head, I remember it was a letter or something, but Hans reads this thing and just comes up with the main theme for Interstellar, which is the da-na, 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 whatever. I can't sing it in tune. But then Christopher Nolan turns around and says, oh, by the way, this is, a big space movie and stuff. And you wouldn't think that this beautiful line would work in such a grandiose way. But the other thing that I want to mention with Hans is, you go. You clearly want to say something.
I was just gonna add, because I think what Christopher Nolan knew is that even though it was a sci-fi space movie, the heart of the movie,
of course,
was the story of the sacrifice that a parent would go to for their offspring,
child.
for their children.
For sure.
So it is the ultimate sacrifice to, spoiler alert, to not see the life of their child, to make sure that the life of their child is worth living.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah. The story needed Hans's delicateness in amongst the amazing sci-fi epicness.
Yeah, so that was a side note because obviously that's awesome. But the thing that I love about Hans is for a lot of his films, he picks a thing that he's going to make the iconic vibe of his score. I don't know how best to say that, but so Interstellar was the organ, and there's some really great documentary on how they got this pipe organ from a church and they put like heaps of mics all over it, knowing there'd be like in surround and all that sort of stuff. And also you should watch it because the guy that they interview, the actual organist, or they talk about the organist, he's got all these like switches and things, so he can make the organ sound like so many different sounds, you know, by muting it. And I don't even know how the pipe organ works, but you almost got an orchestra out of the pipe organ. But there's something organic about it, but then it's epic. I don't know why, I just love this vibe, but it just works so well with the strings. So let's just have a little play of this one.
This is
I know,
great cue.
and everyone's heard it, but I just like it needs some respect. It needs some props.
It needs to be heard without the movie, so
That's
without
true.
all sound effects in the way.
Yeah.
No, nothing against the sound effects team, but you always mix the music too low. All right, here we go.
Maybe not in this film though. He's so good at the very, very basic melodies, isn't he, that really grab your attention.
He's a true master.
How good's that reverb at the end?
It's amazing. And what I want to add there, and something that's not missed on me but could be missed on first listen, is not resolving at the end, leaving the story not complete because this is the start of the film or like about a quarter in or so, or not even a quarter in, it's a long film. It's just sort of, 1/10 into the film. Hans often will not resolve the music.
And for
leaving you feeling like
layman's terms is there's no resolving or an end chord to go bah, or like it feels incomplete. The runs,
it feels incomplete.
Yeah.
When
So
he finishes, because there's more to come.
Yeah, it's a great thought. So next, I wanted to talk about Oil Rig. So this track is off Man of Steel, another one of Hans, and like big fan of Superman and loved the film. I know like there's a bit of contention about that one, but for this one, I just loved. So in this track, he had a bunch. He got like something like 12 drummers or more in a room, and they mic'd the whole room. They mic'd every kit.
Wow!
And they had. I wrote this down somewhere, but they got. There's drummers like who we got. Matt Chamberlain, who was Pearl Jam's drummer. Josh Freese, who was in Nine Inch Nails. Danny Corey, who's Tool's drummer. And then Pharrell Williams was a drummer as well. Like he just had all these awesome drummers, and they all came in and basically
The all-stars.
Yeah, they're all stars. That's it. And Hans was like, "Here's your rhythms, and just play along." And they did it, and then they've just layered it up. And a lot of the times, just like four toms and stuff. There's a few times where they're playing beats, but they also beef it up with orchestral percussion. But play this one, I just loved it.
Yeah. And there's a great behind the scenes of this too. So YouTube, Man of Steel drums, Hans Zimmer into YouTube, and you'll find it. It's really cool. So here we go.
Not sure where in the track it is, but. There's some beautiful chords in this score as well. It's just amazing. You'd hate to be that one guy that's stuffed up, eh?
Thing is, they're all so good drummers. I don't think anyone's stuff it up.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, that's good. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So, are we going?
No, that's fine. No. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm glad you kept playing. I love it.
I should add, Hans Zimmer is known for really large orchestras. So like you've got a traditional orchestra that might be 80-piece orchestra, but Hans will be known to bring in 60 brass players alone.
Yeah.
Just to get a ridiculous sound. So,
and it works to like Man of Steel, the idea of like, there's literally two Superman smashing against each other, breaking big concrete, going through buildings, and this idea that you got this big drum sound, just works great.
Mm-hmm. So staying on Hans, this one is also with two of his alumni. So Hans, for those who don't know, has a studio in where is it? Santa Monica, I think, where he brings great composers in to work with him, and they all have their own rooms and stuff. So they work on his projects. And Jacob Shea and Jasha Kiebe, I think is how you say his name, were both assistants of his that were very good and have since gone out on their own to be very successful composers in their own right. Collaborated on Planet Earth 2. I think on this one, Hans Zimmer wrote the main theme, and then the main storyline was by Jacob Shea and Jasha Kiebe, and Bleeding Fingers Music is the sort of the studio that they all work for. So this is for Planet Earth 2, and I actually loved the documentary and thought the music was fantastic. This is a totally different thing. You'll hear a trend soon that the tracks that Ben Knock puts in are very tough and big, and the tracks that I put in are very soft and sweet. This is very much that way, but a cool composition, and what I really like is the production of this too. I think the recording of it is phenomenal. So
looking forward to it.
Chatting.
Oh, it's shit. It's too pretty. No, I'm kidding. I love the woodiness of a violin, especially when it's soloed. Very similar to the Sherlock Holmes, like in its vibe and instrumentation and stuff, as in choice of instruments.
Little mandolins and
Beautiful.
So cheeky, I guess in this documentary, they're playing different animals. So this is the butcher bird. So if you think of a butcher bird, that's what the team came up with to represent the butcher bird. All right, goodbye, Hans, for the moment.
Maybe.
So animated movies, that's another genre. Now, animation is quite different to filmed movies, both in the way that they make it, but also what you can do musically. Because in the style of animation, you can normally be a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more over the top. So who better to talk about over the top than John Powell, the man who plays way too many notes, but somehow makes it work. And it's really amazing. And even he admits that he's got an obsession with too many notes. He doesn't know when to stop writing, and he just can't help himself. And he's made it a bit of a genre. So I'm going to show a little bit of these next two cues. I might jump around a few sections as well, just to get, because it's just wall-to-wall notes, but he makes it all work, and it doesn't feel too much, to my opinion.
You can just picture him conducting, like swirling, like the vibe of the. Yeah. I love when multiple instruments follow the melody like that. It's beautiful.
His melodies are often quite long and have a lot of notes.
Not a fan of oboe.
Not a fan of oboe?
Nah, mate.
Sorry, oboe players. If you're an oboe player, leave us a comment in the below.
Yeah, say piss off Ben or something.
I'll just play another 30 seconds before I jump around. John also loves writing for choir, so you'll often find choir hidden amongst the strings, very delicately done.
It's almost got that musical theatre vibe where it's like there's not straight chords. You know, every instrument's almost not playing melodies, but quite full-on runs rather than just playing long chords underneath a melody.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe his music, and this is where it starts getting a bit more action-filled. And I'll jump around in a minute. Notice how many notes and everyone's moving. I'm going to jump halfway near the end just for some more flavors.
I feel like these cues.
Someone asked John, what was that?
I was going to say all these cues could have probably been split up to their own names. It's still the same vein.
Well, he likes writing big long cues that take you on a journey. Someone once asked John, "Hey, how do you find the right notes?" He says, "I just play them all."
I love that he knows it too. Like, if that's your thing, good on ya. Make it your thing.
But he's never really hanging on long chords. Everything's in motion.
Yeah.
It's exciting to
listen to. And it works
to.
for film too, right? Like, yeah.
Especially animation.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to jump into the next cue.
See there, they've got their own orchestra, the DreamWorks Orchestra.
DreamWorks Orchestra, one of the best scoring orchestras in the world. You'd need to be to play John's music, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I should call out Gavin Greenaway too, who wrote some of the music on this film as well. Talented guy. So many notes. But the sound world he's painting, the colours he's using.
It reminds me of like Hook. Do you remember Hook?
Oh, Hook.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that film.
What a film.
Yeah. Oh, it's majestic.
I mean, we could listen to this all night.
Yeah.
It's
the
fun
changes
and
in
stuff.
it. Like, you're right. There's so much in that.
Yeah.
I've selected the next track, but I've done this for a reason. Obviously, everyone knows this as a theme, but I thought let's show a bit of a progression. So just give it to us now, mate, and we'll talk about it in a minute. So there's a theme we all know, one that it's not a really good sing-along one, but everyone can sing it, you know. But even the ba-da, you know, like at the start.
I reckon everyone sings the guitar there.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so that's good. So we're going to quickly dive back into Hans because you brought this one back to my attention. But let's just have a listen to how this has progressed over times. And even just, I love the idea that a new composer gets to give their flavour to it. But it's still at the core James Bond. Like, chords are there, melodies there. But Hans is like, I'm going to make this a little sweeter. So good. I'm so glad he got to do one. All right, then what do we got next?
And then this is still in the name of James Bond, but Thomas Newman. This is one of my favourite James Bonds, as well as Thomas Newman's score is. I reckon it's my favourite James Bond score because I'm a big fan of Thomas Newman. And this track I'll play and then talk over it a bit because it's got a long intro. But there's DNA of Bond, but it's done in a different way, in a Thomas Newman-esque way. Behind it, like, So I'll talk over it. One thing I want to do next is we're going to play. I can't talk over it. I want to just listen. Even that's like so characteristic of a Bond, that bam, like in the horn. Oh, yeah,
it's so good.
I think the main theme comes in here.
Yeah.
What a great version. Thomas Newman.
So good.
I'll stop.
All right. So next, I want to talk about the fact that, you know, they obviously get lots of artists to write a track for each film. And I love that they started doing this. And I'm a huge fan of Adele. And if you're listening, Adele, I'll leave my wife for you because I think you're beautiful and your voice is amazing. It's okay. Sarah will hear this and she'll agree. Or you could join our marriage if you want to. That'd be great.
But she'll just leave for James Bond, so it's okay.
That's it. She'll take
deal.
Daniel Craig and I'll take Adele. Anyway, sorry that I'm sure Anyway, it doesn't matter. But so so I love though that these tracks, not all of them nail it, but like they obviously have their guidelines, right? They've got certain chords or even melodies, maybe, or just the artists are so good at going, all right, I know the sound of Bond, and we all kind of know the vibe. And I guess as a composer, you know how to bring that out. But I just love the way that every one of these tracks, to me, it feels like Bond. And I know it's a combination of getting the orchestrator or whoever's composing the film, that particular film, knows how to bring this out. But they're always just such good collaborations. So I'd say listen to Sam Smith's one, which is actually from Spectre. That's sounds awesome in my room in Dolby Atmos.
It's amazing.
Let's play a little bit of this. You could probably skip a bit of this one, I think. Oh, I love the start. That's cool. Just go maybe 30 seconds, I think. Takes a bit for her to start singing.
Hold your breath and count to 10.
Her voice.
Yeah, her voice was meant for this too.
Feel the earth move and then hear my heart burst again. For this is the end.
Obviously, there's a choice to have that guitar in there, with the...
You can't have a James Bond without a tremoloed guitar.
Yeah, exactly. But adding those
Vibrato.
things bring in that characteristic. But obviously, with the chord vibes and the melody, it just... Oh, it's so good.
Let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall.
It's just got so much soul.
Together, let the sky fall.
Skyfall was one of my favourites. So it's up there.
We will stand tall and face it all together at Skyfall.
There's a theme.
At Skyfall.
Great sounding orchestra, great sounding drum
It's
kit.
beautiful production. All right, that'll do that one. But, so good.
Skyfall is where we
It's very easy to want to listen to the whole
It is.
thing.
We would
And
be here forever, though.
I almost never, just sort of disclaimer, the way I tend to listen to music, I start from the start and I listen to the end and then I listen to the next song. So the way I tend to listen to music is I'll put on a record and it'll be like a hour 20 experience and I'll hit play and it'll go all the way through. I often sit here with my eyes closed. So this feels very unnatural to stop, but it's okay. We've got to think of the listeners.
Yeah, everyone listens to their music differently. So the next one is just an iconic theme. You can't, this is going back to the just conversation we had at the start about ones that you just remember and just serve the film. And obviously, Back to the Future was an amazing series. One of the greats that, the sequels are awesome as well. And, which was better, right? The film or the theme song? It's just one of those things where they just both were a great merge of the two.
I think it's one of those ones where the movie needed the theme song and the theme song needed the movie.
Yeah.
Like if you take either one away from each other, they kind of both don't have. I mean, the movie was still always going to be good and the piece of music is still nice, but there's something about the nostalgia around the movie, the music, and then seeing it as a kid.
Yeah. Just let's.
So this is Alan Silvestri and Blast in the Past.
It's such an opening title track, isn't it? It's like Star Wars, they put the title up and you're like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then the
Very much so.
exciting bit, oh, it's so good. just builds so much anticipation, you know?
One thing I've noticed, even just the sound of it, it's very organic sounding.
Yeah, it's full orchestra, right? Like, that's it. It's like same as the old Superman movies as well. That's very similar style. So the same repeated
You notice
theme.
in a lot of these old,
right?
yeah,
It's the same
a lot of these
repeated
old,
theme, but in different
older
ways.
films,
Right?
they do that.
Yeah.
They recycle the
Yeah.
motifs over and over again.
Yeah.
They want
It's
you
like
to remember it.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to drill it into you. Yeah. Yeah, cool. All right.
Now, staying with Alan Silvestri and thinking about how that orchestra sounded, and now we're going to jump a little bit more modern with The Mummy Returns, and now
The Rock's in
don't
this
get
as
angry at
well.
me. I'm
I love
sure
that
The Mummy #1 was the better one as a movie, but the score of The Mummy Returns.
I love that The Rock's in this one too. We've got lots of themes in here, accidental themes, you know. That's so good.
Now, just when you listen to this one, obviously the music's great, but listen to the production, how the production has changed, the heightened sound of an orchestra.
Yeah, so much fuller, bigger, wider, lower.
Alan Silvestri always has a way of making it feel like a big Hollywood movie adventure.
Yeah.
You know? His writing.
Yeah.
Kind of gets a bit percussion-y from here and goes through some other things, but that's enough of that.
Yeah, sweet. All right, well, we're going to wrap up pretty soon. Oh, wait, you got one more. Sorry, go for it. You got one more.
We got three more. We got 3 tracks more, 2 different movies. I thought this would be sacrilege to not have a Harry Gregson-Williams track in this
what
list.
a film.
I'm a big fan.
I read the book as well.
And-
loved the book. Loved
Yeah.
watching it. It was so good.
As a sci-fi fan, a space movie can't sneak past me. So The Martian, great movie. Cool score. Lots of synths. Lots of cool sounds. I'll just play it and stop talking.
Mm-hmm. Cello's definitely my favorite of the orchestra. Well, maybe the string section more. It's so good. So fat, so full.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's just a beautiful sounding piece, and it kind of just tinkers around, dances around,
Yeah.
and serves the movie very well.
So how deep is that sound though? Like the whole orchestra. Obviously, there's a big fat synth in there, but so good. Sticking with sci-fi, yeah. I cannot.
One of the greatest.
Yeah. Look, for me, I'm a huge Daft Punk fan. If you can't tell, there's Thomas back there. I'd love it to focus on there, but it's not going to. But I'm a big Daft Punk fan, and I'll be honest, when I first saw the movie, I loved the movie experience seeing Tron Legacy, but I think I was on the fence about the score. I think I had such high expectations, but it very quickly grew on me, and I love this score. But one particular thing I just want to, so I've got 2 tracks I want to play on here for 2 different reasons, but this first one, I just love that, obviously they had an orchestrator who kind of co-wrote, or at least did the orchestration for this stuff, but I'm pretty sure the boys from Daft Punk wrote a lot of the ideas in there. But I love what they did with this score production-wise because, you know, everyone knows Daft Punk for their Moog kind of synth sounds and the bit crushing kind of vibes, and they ran a lot of the orchestrated sounds, you know, whether it's percussion or whatever, through their sort of synths and gave it that Daft Punk vibe. So give this a quick play. I just want to, you know, show you how cool this is. Obviously, it's got their typical synths and other vibes as well.
It's already fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. They've even got the bit crushing on like the reverb tail of those drums. Beautiful clean strings over the top of just dirty synths. This is a moment where there's fireworks shooting off in the like digital realm. It's so good. Filter stuff down, and yeah, it's so good. Very typical, like Daft Punk, they filter out their hats and stuff during their songs. So good. All right, so the next track, just love it. I'd love to listen to more, but so the final track, Outlands, is kind of the more like the main theme of this. But the reason why I picked this is I've actually been watching Formula One quite a bit lately. In fact, Monaco race was just a couple of days ago. And they actually use this theme in their opening titles, and which they've also got like the visuals, you know, it's the drivers getting in a car and things like that all standing there. But they've got similar Tron looking digital sort of interface looking stuff moving around them, and they get in the car and they've used 3D to make the opening sequence and the cars are zooming around and stuff. And it's just really cool and fits, and it's just a great choice for a track. So I thought we'll have a listen to
Should
this
we
one.
play this one in full, being it's the last track?
Oh, why not? Let's do it. Unless we get bored, we'll see how we go. But I just love the way this one drives. Pun intended. No, not really. Again, I love my like arpeggiated strings and the counter melodies in there, like going opposite ways and stuff. Tea's well and truly cold now.
It's an iced tea. Is that in mind?
So I recommend you go and watch the Formula One intro and just see, because they've put obviously extra sound design on there and stuff as well, but it just works. It kind of, they've almost mirrored the vibes, of Tron kind of visually as well. So it just worked out really well.
That was fun.
That was fun.
I could have done that for many more hours. Maybe, look, it's only an hour. Maybe we should have just listened to all the songs.
Yeah,
in full,
we could have.
No one would be listening at this point. But
Yeah.
hey, if you have a favorite score that we haven't spoken about, leave it in the comments, because maybe you have heard something that Ben or I haven't heard and we'd love to discover it.
Yeah, I think we should do this more often. Maybe we do, every few episodes we could do another one of these. But obviously, let's see what people think. But honestly, for us, I want to just hear the new things you're listening to. And anyway, like, we might as well have a couple of listening sessions every once in a while. And maybe we could do the same thing for some scenes for movies. If there's something, maybe we could go back and watch some short scenes of movies and discuss how they may have done things or why they did certain
Maybe even do a
things.
sound design one.
Yeah.
Or a Foley one. And yeah.
Sounds good. But, mate, this has
Sounds fun.
been a pleasure. I always appreciate the music you send me. So looking forward to the next one.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I'll catch you next week.
Yeah, see you, mate.
See ya.